Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Academic Writing Amplified podcast. I'm your host and coach for the day, Kathy Mazak. And today we are in episode 2 of our self-coaching series. So this is a short series of episodes that we're releasing as a group so that you can kind of listen through them all. And they are about how to coach yourself as an academic. The first episode talked about what is coaching and what is self-coaching. And something I want to add something to that episode before I move on with today's episode, which is all about key questions for self-coaching. I'm going to give you my 3 favorite self-coaching questions and kind of talk you through how you might use them. Before we start the episode, though, I want you to know that this May, I'm doing something a little different, something I've never done before, but I've really wanted to try. So the last 2 weeks of May, so starting May 18th and ending May 29th, I am running my Navigate Signature program as a 2-week sprint. So if you haven't heard about Navigate, at the end of the episode, I'll give you a little bit of more information about that. But basically, it is a system for publishing your backlog of papers. You get in there, you submit 1 paper by the end, and but you also have this whole system of how to make your career kind of ready to publish or able to publish your backlog of papers. So we're doing that this summer. We're calling it the Navigate Summer Intensive or the Navigate Intensive. It will meet for 2 hours a day and it will be all live. So normally in Navigate, it's a 12-week program and there's video. It's like a flipped classroom model where there's video lessons and then live calls where I answer questions and coach and we co-write. But in the intensive, we do it all in a 2-hour meeting each day, Monday through Friday, between May 18th and May 29th. Now, it might sound like a lot for some of you, and if you're like, ooh, that sounds like too much, then maybe the 12-week program that will start in the beginning of September, very, very end of August, will be a better fit for you. But if you're like, ooh, I'd like to kick off my summer with like a really juicy kind of deep dive into my writing, then the Navigate Intensive might be for you. You can go to my website and read all about it. So just go to scholarsvoice.org/navigate and you'll be able to get all the information about the program and apply. Okay, so I'll give you a little more juicy information at the end, but that's just a little announcement that I wanted to make before we dig into today's lesson. Okay, so in the last lesson, I talked about my definition of coaching, and I neglected to say something I remembered later, which is that coaching is not a substitute for psychotherapy, okay? It is not a substitute for counseling or therapy. So coaching is a really different kind of thing than therapy is. And so I just want to say that a lot of times what happens to people when they start coaching is that they also get a therapist. And I think that is a great idea. So that was like kind of a little caveat I wanted to add to my definition of coaching and what it is and isn't. It is not therapy. I'm not a therapist. There are many wonderful licensed therapists out there in the world, and you should find one to complement your coaching journey if you would like, or if you find that there's issues coming up for you that go beyond career issues, right? That are kind of deep, deeper than, all the career issues are also deep, but that would be a great idea to get a therapist because coaching is not therapy. Okay, now that we've cleared that up, I am ready to dig into today's lesson, which is about using questions in self-coaching. And I'm going to give you my key questions, or maybe better, my 3 favorite questions that I use in self-coaching. So again, self-coaching is about reflection. It's about noticing your patterns, noticing your thinking, and then deliberately changing your thinking or breaking patterns in order to replace them with healthier patterns, or maybe I don't want to use the word health, but I want to say like more beneficial patterns, patterns with a better payoff, with a better result. Okay. So, in doing that, asking yourself questions and really thinking about them, journaling about them, writing about them is a helpful self-coaching tool. Okay. So sometimes, or in my experience, right, my coach has asked me these questions, and there is certainly something about having a kind of sympathetic listening ear, a person who can reflect back to you what you're saying, and a person who can kind of start to pull out your inner wisdom and your inner thoughts, like a great coach can do that. Shout out to my coach, Natalie Miller, who I always like. She's my favorite coach. Okay. You can go look her up online. So the 3 questions, though, that I want to give to you and I'm going to tell you how to start using them, are the following. Okay. So question number 1, what am I trying to avoid feeling? Or what am I avoiding feeling? So this question is one that's helpful for academics because it's a great question that gets to the bottom of, or can help you get underneath of, your reasons for procrastination. I'm putting that in air quotes. And perfectionism, also putting that in air quotes. Most of the time when I talk to people about procrastination, perfectionism, sometimes motivation, it's a little different, but the lack of, or the perfectionism part is really fear. And so is the procrastination. But I think the procrastination is more like the fear of feeling a certain thing. So this question, what am I avoiding feeling, is really, really important. So I'm going to give you like a non-academic example to kind of make it less heavy. And it, from my own personal life, and then we can think of maybe a more academic example. But I hate doing the dishes. Like, can I just say that? There's like not a lot that I enjoy about the actual dishwashing process. But having said that, when I say that out loud, actually, I think I'm pretty neutral, actually. Like, I don't hate doing dishes. It doesn't gross me out or anything. Like, I don't mind the act of doing the dishes. Here's what I hate about dishes: the feeling of resentment that I get when I am doing them, because other people haven't done them. So there you go. I just said I hate dishes. I don't hate dishes. What I'm avoiding feeling when I'm avoiding the dishes is that feeling of resentment. And when I realized that, which is kind of relatively recently, I was doing some thought work and I was like, why is this, I also hate like walking into the kitchen and there's like piles of dirty dishes everywhere. So like, I don't like that either. So why do I resist or procrastinate, one might say, doing the dishes so much? It's not because I don't have time, actually. In fact, one of the reasons that we avoid things, we say we don't have time, but I just want you to go into your phone and I want you to look at how much time you've spent on any of the social media apps or YouTube, and then decide if you don't have time. So that's another thing that we can talk about. I mean, I'm not trying to, I'm calling you out a little bit. I'm calling myself out. It's not that I don't have time. It's that I'm avoiding feeling resentment over, the people in my house who haven't done their fair share of the dishes. But what I decide, so that in itself is an important coaching kind of moment or strategy. It's like really understand the why behind your actions. Now, how do that's good enough. Okay. Observing our reasons is, a great, like, you can stop there if you'd like. For me, I didn't want to stop there because I wanted the dish to be done. So, and I wanted to stop feeling resentment. So I decided to work on my thoughts, around doing the dishes. And I just decided to let go of that resentment. And I decided that it wasn't serving me. It wasn't motivating anybody else to get their dishes done. My quiet, my fuming, simmering resentment while I washed dishes wasn't motivating anybody else to do the dishes. And I was just like, you know what? This does not take that long. I'm just going to freaking do it. And at the same time I'm doing it, I'm dreaming of a dishwasher and how I'm going to redesign my kitchen. And that's fine. So there's other things you might think of, like 1,000 other ways to get the dishes done, including working more closely with your other family members to make it happen. But I decided this is what I was going to do for now. So that all came from the question, what am I avoiding feeling? So apply that kind of simple household example to your to something that you're procrastinating. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's opening a paper, maybe it's ending a co-authoring relationship with a colleague. Like, what are you avoiding feeling? If you can articulate that, it can really help you to kind of, you could even just like articulating it might be enough to make you go, okay, well, now I am prepared because I am going to have this feeling. You can, and you decide I can tolerate that feeling, so I'm going to do the co-author breakup or whatever. Or you might find some other path of action or thoughts that you would like to think in order to take different actions. But that, what am I avoiding feeling, really can get you out of a lot of sticky, procrastinating-y spots. Okay, question number 2 of the key questions that I love for academic coaching. Ooh, this is one that Natalie Miller used to give me all the time, and it blows your mind. If somebody asks you this question in the right moment, it blows your mind. So I'm offering it to you as a way to blow your own mind. All right, how is my worst fear already happening? How is my worst fear already happening? And I'll give you an example that I think I've talked about on the podcast before, which is about a time in my business where I had to downsize my team. We were coming out of the pandemic, and there was just like a big drop off in enrollments as people went kind of back to their regular life and stopped needing to feel connection with people through online programs and lots of other reasons. And I had to downsize my team. And I remember like my coach asking me like, well, what are you afraid of? Like, why can't you let these people go? And I was like, well, because I'm afraid they'll hate me. I'm afraid, they're relying on this job for, they're planning on this job for their income, and I'm going to let them down, by having to lay them off. And she's like, and what would happen like in 1 month if you didn't lay them off? And the truth was, like, there wasn't enough money to pay them. So my worst fear was already coming true. Like, I would have had to close the company, and they also would have been without a job. So in that case, it was like a great example of how I was avoiding doing something because I'm like, oh, my fear is that this person will then be without a job that they were relying on. And I don't, I feel really horrible about that. And if I didn't do that thing, the same result was going to happen. It was already true. Here's a really simple academic version of that. If you are avoiding submitting a paper to a journal because of fear of rejection, then your worst fear is already true, because if you don't send it in, then it also is not coming out. Like, it's also not getting published if you never send it, if you never submit it. So that's another like good academic example, right? Of how your worst fear is already true. Like, oh, I have this fear that it'll get rejected and then the result is it won't be published. Well, you're making that result happen. You're just trying to like not feel the feeling of rejection. So you're doing both questions. What are you avoiding feeling? Rejected. And how is the worst fear already true happening? You are not publishing the thing. So I love those questions. All right. The third question, and the hardest question of all time, but a great self-coaching question. What do I want? So I'm going to say this a bunch of different ways with the emphasis on different words. Okay, ready? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? Any version and all those versions are the most important and also dang hardest question to answer in coaching. And that's why I think it's a really important self-coaching question. Because so much of the time, especially women, are worried about what other people want and what other people need. And they forget, you forget that you're allowed to want things and you're allowed to need things. And you need to be in touch with what those things are. It is human to want. It is human to need. If you are denying yourself the ability to want things, then you are denying your humanity. So a great coaching question and a great journal prompt. What do I want? So simple, just like such a short little question and so deep and can really like churn up a bunch of stuff. But truly, truly important to continue to ask yourself. So the use of questions in self-coaching is really important. My three favorite ones are, what am I avoiding feeling? How is my how is my worst fear already true or already happening? And what do I want? Those are three coaching questions for you to do a little walk and think about. Don't do them all at once. Do one at a time. Apply them to different situations. Pull them out in different situations. If it's helpful to you, write them on sticky notes and have them around so that when you are maybe stewing about something or you feel like you're procrastinating or you're feeling fear over writing and submission, that you just go ahead and have a look at those questions and think about them. Again, also make great journal prompts. Okay, for those of you who are still here at the end of the podcast and would like a little bit more information about the Navigate Intensive, which is my signature program to help you publish your backlog of papers, that's happening at the end of May. I just want to talk through a little bit about program format. I have a lot of information about program content, and I will be doing info sessions, and I'll release the info session about this program on the podcast after it's done. And if you're on my email list, which you can get on by going to scholarsvoice.org and scrolling to the bottom of any page where you will find the In the Pipeline form. That's the name of my email newsletter. And you can sign up there, and then you'll definitely hear about the Navigate Intensive and the info session that will be coming up. But right now, I just want to talk to you if you haven't done Navigate before. And part of the reason you haven't done it is because it meets during the semester. And it is a program that is intentionally designed to do during the semester, because also you need to do your writing during the semester. Okay, so that is why Navigate is a 12-week program that runs in the fall and the spring. I used to run it in the summer as well, but I decided that this summer I was taking off for a sabbatical in June and July. So I decided to try this idea of the Navigate intensive. So Navigate has usually 12 weeks. I've condensed them into, 12 weeks, 12 lessons. For the intensive, I rearranged the content slightly to be able to fit into 10 lessons. So Monday through Friday and another Monday through Friday, that's 10 days, that's 10 lessons. The lessons, when they're recorded, are about between 15 or 20 minutes to, I think the longest one is 35 or so minutes long. And then there is like homework or an activity that you do. And there's the mini low-hanging fruit lesson. And then that's kind of the recorded material. So I'm going to be delivering that material live. Now, here's why you might want to experience that. One, if you've been avoiding doing Navigate during the semester because you're afraid that during that 12 weeks, something will happen and you will lose your commitment to the program and kind of drop off, then this is only a 2-week commitment. It's an intense 2-week commitment, but it's a 2-week commitment. And so the likelihood is just reduced that something will derail you because you are doing it in just 2 weeks. Also, like if you're afraid, like, oh, I won't take action, some people think like, oh, I'll watch the video, but I won't do the exercise and I'll get behind and blah, blah, blah. Well, the intensive kind of helps with that because we do the homework on the call. So I'm like, okay, now we're going to write out our publication pipelines. Here's step 1 for what I want you to do. And then I wait while you do it. And then, okay, step 2, now we're on to step 2, blah, blah, wait while you do it. So I'm holding this space for you to complete everything you need to complete for the program on the call. Okay? I'm also there live as you're completing it so I can answer your questions. If you get stuck or confused or whatever, you're getting like in the moment help. So that's another reason that you might enjoy the intensive over the way that I've traditionally run the program. And the last reason is that you're going to get my very latest polished and shined up version of the curriculum with my very latest thinking because I'm going to be delivering it live. And then every single day, there is going to be co-writing time. Whether it's half an hour, I'm thinking it's going to be 45 minutes every day, except I know the day that we do the activities download, it's going to be less than that. But it'll be at least, I'm hoping, 45 minutes every day of co-writing time for 2 weeks. So if you have a article that you want to get done or a project you want to make significant, progress on, you can basically do a guided sprint with us during the Navigate Intensive. So if this way of the program delivery appeals to you, wonderful. I'm assuming that you know what this program is about, so I'll give you the 2-minute version of that, and then I'll sign off for this episode. The program is about publishing. It's a system for publishing your backlog of papers. So it's great for professors who have 3, 5, 10 papers in different stages of done. We begin by talking about, or I teach you my system for publication pipeline management and for writing project management at the beginning. Then we work on a mission-driven approach to your schedule so that we can eliminate things that are off mission for you and make space for the writing that is sustained, so it can be sustainable throughout the year. And then we work on writing practice. So how do we structure the actual writing time that we have so that we are taking best advantage of our energy and creating a really sustainable writing practice that can weather derailments. So those are the 3 main areas. If you go to scholarsvoice.org/navigate, you'll see there's like these little cute flippy cards that right now it's set up for the Navigate Intensive. So you can see each week the theme, and then you click on it and it explains the theme of each week. So Go find that, scholarsvoice.org/navigate. Check it out and apply. We're accepting applications like from now until we start. We will have an enrollment cutoff date and an application cutoff date in May. But you got plenty of time. So, I hope you join us. Our next podcast in this series is continuing with the theme of self-coaching. And we're going to talk about the narratives or the stories that we kind of quote unquote grew up with inside of academia. And I'm going to deep dive into very, very common narratives that get ingrained in us that we can begin to rewrite in our career. And I hope that you'll tune in. All right, I'll see you in the next episode.